Welcome to this week's Blonde Intelligence. I'm your host, Miss Ronnie, and as always, I seek to give you exquisite cranial repertoire. Since last week, I talked about the 50 and the Harris family rap beef, and I think this week it turned into 50 versus everybody, but not really. He has this. Well, there's been a couple of diss tracks from a couple of different artists that has dropped against 50. And I think 50 had like a response and a half, like a snippet, and then a whole song with a collaboration. I say that. Well, I heard a lot of people talking about who had the better diss between, it was the artist Mano and the artist Papoose that dropped. And I've heard, both sides. So they're saying that the top disses are between Domani and between Papoose. And I think they're different, and I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. Last week, it was the Harris men, for what I said. And I feel like they had a reason to beef. I really don't know the exact situation with all the other rappers, but I feel like the money didn't have like a personal issue because, rappers go back and forth or whatever, but didn't have per se a personal issue with 50. It was about, he was a rapper, that's how he respond. And as he said I think it was the Breakfast Club, if I'm not mistaken, that was how he felt at the time. He didn't like that. So I felt like, talking about somebody mama, made that particular beef. So that was a real beef. That wasn't something that was staged. That was, don't talk about my mom again. So I think that's a little different from the situation with Papoose. I was listening to the lyrics, in the Papoose diss, and some of the stuff is shocking and it's funny or whatever, but in the end, what is it really supposed to do? I know that it could probably damage his credibility or whatever, but if it's a known fact in the street, I guess everybody have a persona. And I'm just looking at it from a business standpoint, I think that him not having the beef with the Harris family, and I think, he thought it was cute to take another little shot, but then he found out that it wasn't. And I think that he decided to, as a grown man, I'm talking about 50, as a grown man, decided to quietly take the L with the money. I'm not saying that he's not going to ever take shots again, but I think that he would probably think about exactly what, he's saying. I'm sure that he's going to forever be dissing King on the sly, because I think King might have took it a little bit too far. But, he's young, and, young people, they crash out sometimes. And and I feel like it was warranted. And I do see that the Harris family, they kind of chill. So it's kind of like, long as you don't say or do X, Y, and Z, we cool, we gonna leave it alone, da-da-da-da. I'm saying as far as the kids, I don't know what's going to happen with this documentary thing. I hope that does not happen. I don't feel like that's the way to solve a beef or whatever. But that would kind of like be like a quiet simmer as always. But I think that the situation with Papoose, I don't think there's no coming back from. I think there's going to be one of those Cardi B things. She said, when you have beef with me, we always have beef. I don't know if that's a New York thing or what's going on, but I was watching. But you cannot I cannot say that this is true. That this is not AI, and a lot of times people are posting if it's AI. I think it was a real video where Remy was riding with 50 and was getting out the car. You know, everybody was taking pictures and everything. And then when she got out the car or whatever, then Papoose came up from another, way and came to, I guess, walk with her. And I guess 50 saw that she went with Papoose instead of, I guess, following him in the cameras. Well, that's why I say the beef with him and 50 is deeper than Clarissa Shields. And this is just me thinking, Pap came to fame from, now I'm talking about besides musically, because Pap came to fame from being there as the family man, there for her, going to see her every day, talking about Remy while she was locked up. But Remy said in an interview that all her court dates, that 50 was there, that he would write letters and have people write letters on her behalf and tell the judge that he would vouch for her, that she would have a job when he get out. And she was making a joke. 50, you remember you said you was going to give me a job or whatever. But the bottom line is, and this just like I said from my observation, is whether it was just being a friend or whatever that it may be, I feel like there's some type of rivalry between 50 and Papoose over the fact that both of them was there for her during the same time, when she was locked up. So, yeah, he might have posted a meme about Clarissa or whatever. I don't think that he even really had anything against Clarissa. He was taking a dig at Papoose. And I don't know if 50 sit back and then be like, this made me mad. I'm finna go and post whatever. Because, I have somebody in my family that periodically will go and just do stuff. Have we talked about this? Is this forgiven? Are you over this or no? And, in some things I feel like with 50, I know that he's a Cancer, and Cancers have a hard shell on the outside, but actually very soft on the inside. And that's the reason why I feel like Domani, his disses, especially Miss Jackson, probably kind of cut him, I would say. But fighting with the rest of these rappers, that's what he do. 50 is built for that. That would be an ongoing thing. But I think that he would probably be more mindful when it comes to that woman. Now, I think that when men have problems with each other, they need to take it up the man way, not go gossiping and stuff. Now I can see doing the diss tracks because that's what hip hop is. But the social media thing and talking crazy on social media, I think that should not be. That's not part of the equation. And a lot of these people are making these AI videos now, and as they say, soon we won't be able to tell the difference. A lot of times, a lot of people can't tell the difference. Even years ago, I keep talking about my family, Lord. There's somebody in my family, did you hear about such and such that happened? And I was like, that wasn't real. And I realized there are people of less intelligence that will spread, and it's going to be a mass of people who believe. And a lot of times these people know if I make a post about this or I make a live about this or whatever, these many people going to look, they going to believe it. Somebody going to have to come out with such and such. And then even when somebody come out with proof that will dispute what this person said, it is still going to be a group of people that is not going to believe the truth. So I think that there will be more disses. And I even listened to somebody said that 50 said something about Ja Rule. Well, what your diss at? And hey, well, he inviting you to do it. Like Drake invited Kendrick to beef. Give hip hop a show. Because as Screwface say, hip hop is a sport. And we always looking back and forth. Now this last beef with 50 versus everybody. I mean, we don't even know what direction to look. Is this guerrilla warfare or what? I mean, because it's like people coming from all different places now. I thought that things were addressed. I mean, a lot of people just look at the Clarissa thing. I think Clarissa think that it's about her. That's the reason why she online talking, and the dude that's saying, I'm not understanding. I need somebody to explain to me. I'm not understanding about the guy who said he don't talk on social media and he normally don't tell this, but she was with him during Christmas over somebody's house or over her house or something like that. I'm confused. I mean, what is the purpose of us knowing that? Because the bottom line is, if the man that she with was there with her like he was supposed to be, or, whatever the arrangement were, I'm not getting any juice out of it. I don't understand it. The lemon is dry. It's SpongeBob dry in the sun. I'm not getting it. So I have noticed, that's what I said earlier about men need to beef like men. This going back and forth, social media is crazy. And I would say some of the things that 50 do, he go too far. And some of the things are funny a little bit. But I think that, if it's all in good humor, don't do things like that to people when you're just mad at them. When mad they come, you're going to expose stuff. I mean, the situation with Jim Jones and him trying to kick the door in, I don't even know how I even feel about that video. I'm like, why is that man kicking that door like that? And then I heard him say something about, are you okay? I own the building. And if 50 bought that building from that man that gave him access to the video, then he's probably going to sue Jim Jones. And from what I've seen, they still sit on their podcast and we talking a little crazy or whatever, but I just hope things be okay. Sometimes people do things for everybody else's reaction, and sometimes you have to think about the good of what you're going to do, because I'm not going to break in no building. I'd be like, look, let me just find somewhere else. What I have a vision for will grow in any place that I'm at. So I don't have to be here if somebody trying to put my business out on Front Street. And I just, I just don't know what turn this is going to make for hip hop, but I do know that it's like every year now we're getting a good beef and people showing lyrical skill. And I think, Papoose is already known for his lyrical skill, but I think out of this whole rap beef, I think that the shining light was the money. So I hope that we hear more from him, and I hope that the guys, it's not the girls, the guys can get it together, because y'all are doing a lot of petty beefing, and us women is just sitting back looking like, what are you doing? But anyway, I'll see you next week. This is Real Hip Hop, for real. Subscribe to, it may still be under Indie Artist Music Hustle with Blunt Intelligence, but my tag is @BluntIntelligence, and you can like a page on Facebook. I don't know. But anyway, we'll look to see if any new developments become of this. Is there anybody else who's going to jump in? Is there some beef with 50 that we don't know about? But we're going to stay tuned this week and see what's going on. And I'll see you next week. Bye.
Hey, girl, let me tell you about this podcast.
Girl, everybody has a podcast these days.
But this one interviews new and interesting indie artists. It's called Indie Artist Music Hustle with Blunt Intelligence.
Really? Where can I find it?
It's on all podcasting platforms, streams live on social media, and on rpentradio.com.
What'd you say it was called again?
It's called Indie Artist Music Hustle with Blunt Intelligence.
Girl, I'm gonna have to check her out.
Give it a check, girl.